Fantastic. Hey, here's what else we're not doing. So guess what? There's another caller I won't be speaking to today. Hey, if your name is Jay in Detroit, have a good afternoon. I have said it's a 5-game stretch as the zenith of the injuries is hit and you've played good teams. But thank you for calling. You could sit on hold until midnight. Not talking to you. We're not going to play this game where I'm a janitor and I'm cleaning up everyone's mess. I said it's 5 games, not all year. Try again. But here's the problem. You can't hear what I'm saying because you're too busy running to the defense of your heroes. Y'all better figure it out. Insane. You don't play for the team, people. It's okay to talk sports. Heaven help us if this team wins a Super Bowl. You may as well just not even talk about them. Mind you, I've said all year I think we're winning a Super Bowl. I'm about to present to you a great level of confidence I have that you're beating Minnesota. But notice what we get hung up in. I ain't doing it. It's Friday. I'm actually in a decent mood. So let me give you a point of confidence before we get back to this defensive kerfuffle. This is really good data on why I think you're winning this game, right? And it is, I cited this earlier, Jared Goff has really had Flores' number. So in order to understand how good Goff has been, let me show you how bad everyone else has been, right? So the Vikings lead the league in defensive snaps where they're rushing at least 5 pass rushers, okay? That qualifies as a blitz. Well, they blitz the highest rate in the league at almost 40%. Their blitz rate, okay, quarterbacks against Minnesota's blitz have completed 147 passes for 1,700 yards. That's a nothing burger. 8 touchdowns and 11 picks. That's awful. And a league-low passer rating of 79.1. They're also an EPA, which is a great metric, and it's a negative .07 EPA. All right. One problem. His name is Jared Goff. Because Jared Goff operates as if the Vikings are the worst defense in football. So look back to week 7, 31-29 over Minnesota. Flores blitzed and blitzed and blitzed and blitzed and blitzed, right? He faced 5 or more pass rushers in that game. Here's what he did. Ready? It's phenomenal. He went 12 of 13 for 147, a touchdown, no picks, a 139.4 passer rating, and an EPA of plus 7.3. Like, that's Hall of Fame stuff. Oh, and by the way, almost 60% of Goff's passes went for at least 8 yards. Had 4 completions of over 15, including, I think it was a 35-yard TD to Amon-Ra. The point is, when you're walking into this, the Vikings' greatest advantage is something that your quarterback, and to his credit, Ben Johnson, have found the answers to. Like, the Lions are one of the few teams in this league that's crazy enough and have a line that's good enough to run these old-school Rams 20-yard in-cuts down the field. Those take time to develop. Well, what's the void that's created when Minnesota brings a lot of their blitzes? Well, it's these huge swaths of real estate in the middle of the field. And Goff eats it up. Just eats it up. So we talked yesterday and I made jokes about Sam Darnold. Listen, Darnold's good. I think Goff's very good. There's a difference. The difference between very good and great is equally there. I watch both these teams on a weekly basis. I know you have a cheat code at quarterback. You have this guy's number. Whether it's in Minnesota, in Detroit, on the moon, Goff has Flores' number. The power broker duo of Ben Johnson and Goff, I'm banking on that. Now, look, Darnold is going to make a couple big-time throws, and you're going to go, oh, my God. Minnesota's going to run some play-action passes, and you'll probably look lost like you did last week, and you go, oh, my God. But the other thing Darnold's going to do, and I just feel like the chickens come home to roost the longer you get away with it, he's going to throw the ball in harm's way, and elite playmakers like Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch are going to be there. I just believe in my heart you're going to turn this guy over. And Minnesota will get yards. They'll get their points if you can generate that turnover or two. And if Goff simply plays to the data we have in the 3 matchups against Flores, I feel like that's the separator. Do I have faith you'll actually stop Minnesota? No. You got to get a turnover. But that's the makeup of this. Sometimes you can be a really good coach and somebody else has your number. I feel like that's what we're watching with the Lions and with Goff and Ben Johnson against Brian Flores. So my biggest source of confidence, Goff against Flores. My biggest concern, it's the defense. It goes without saying. I have no qualms about whatever Dan Campbell is or is not going to do. I expect Dan Campbell to go for it on every fourth down. I'm conditioned for it. I'm ready to go. And if it doesn't work, I'm not going to cry about it. I've accepted that Dan Campbell is giving you the best chance to win by doing what he's doing. Because Dan Campbell in his heart knows this defense isn't any good. The guys that make it good outside of Anzalone aren't here. They're gone. They're not coming back. So that's where we're at, and we're going to talk about it all day. TJ's going to join us, but let's get some calls in, David. Can I backload ticket text? All right. Let's go to TJ, 97.1. TJ, what's going on, buddy?
Mike, how you doing?
Good, bud. What's on your mind?
Well, I'm kind of with you on this, and I feel like people, especially, around here, need to take their feelings out of things for a minute and look at reality a little bit, because we're getting another 14-2 opponent. We've obviously steamrolled a lot of these teams during the season, but to say that our offense is just, 40 points every week, that's a lofty expectation. Minnesota has shown that they're able to stick in a lot of these close games. A big concern of mine, and I'm kind of with you on this, is just the defensive line has to generate pressure. Darnold's done a better job, I feel like, the last few weeks identifying pressure coming at him, and he does hold on to the ball, an excruciatingly long amount of time. But if our defense isn't able to capitalize off that, the defense couldn't stop a runny nose against San Francisco. And even before that,
or Green Bay, or Buffalo. I mean, hell, Caleb threw for 300 on you.
Yeah, and that's the kind of stuff that definitely is an alarming stat to look at. And also the PI calls. Darnold's led the league in pass interference calls drawn, and you could give credit to the Minnesota receivers for that, more than him. But if he's able to come in here and we're not able to get, like you said the other day, a few punts at minimum from this defense, people just expecting this defense to just somehow magically get a pick six here and a fumble recovery, like, it doesn't work like that. And I feel like too many people, again, are putting their feelings over reality. And I won't be surprised if Minnesota finds a way to keep this game close. I don't expect this to be, I'm hearing people calling in earlier giving predictions about 10 and 15-point wins. Like, guys, this is the biggest game of the season for us, but also for Minnesota. They know what's at stake here. So I just feel like, we got to pump the brakes. And this is more so directed to what I heard earlier today. Just, the 10-point win and the 20-point win, like, that's great and that's your feelings. But reality is we're playing another 14-2 opponent. They know we beat them at their place, and they're going to give us their best punch. So I fully expect us to, like you said, I expect us to come out on the right side of things. But to say that this is just going to be a cakewalk, or like it was against the Titans or the Jets or the Jags, like, that's just insane. And I'm really just sick of hearing it. And it doesn't help what Anzalone said, but I get, he's a player, he's in the room, he's trying to keep his guys.
He's got a right to say it and believe it, because that's how players have to think. What I'm saying is it causes a problem here in this space because, TJ, you've nailed it. People have been lobotomized, and they're going to take what is said by anyone affiliated with the Lions, and they treat it as if it's the New Testament. And then we have to spend the afternoon cleaning it up and going, well, data says otherwise, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you brought up the points per game with, these teams that win or at least make the Super Bowl. We're double that. That's halfway to what we're giving up. Right. So I don't see our defense making a stride that great from the San Francisco game to now. Do I think Aaron Glenn will make adjustments? Absolutely. But at the same time, we have to look at on paper. Minnesota looked pretty good against Green Bay. And I'm watching that game thinking in my head, if they come here and put in an offensive effort like that, it's going to be a long day for our secondary.
Yeah, no, TJ, naturally. I mean, if you allow Sam Darnold to walk in here and throw for 375 yards, you're in a lot of trouble. I mean, the defense can get better because it can't get worse. Anzalone coming back should help a little. I'm not turning him into Ray Lewis like some of you. But overall, look, the problems that exist on your defense it's not going to change. Your entire D-line has been gutted. And that's irreplaceable. So how they can manage to do it, we're going to find out. All they have to do is get a little better. A little. Christ, just give up 24 a game. Can you do that for me? Not like that's any great shakes. Just get a little better. Offense is going to have to play damn near perfect. They can win a Super Bowl. They can do it. But not with the way the defense played the last 5 weeks. Must get better. 248-539-9797. We'll get the people involved. 97.1.